Digwiv, hello. Hello, good people. Dennis here, Dunica on Shot. 27th of November 2025. Just going to try out this audio clip. Sitting here with Dara O'Flaherty.
How y'all? Dara here.
Yeah, so we've been conversing over the past few months, watching, observing the maddening, saddening goings on in Ireland. It's on your stomach really to watch the goings on recently in the last few months. Let's say post Wuhan flu, where we have a new batch of wannabe politicians wanting to get into the Crown or Oireachtas and just paper over the cracks and let the genocide of Irish people, the knowing genocide of Irish people, just fade into oblivion. Like another scandal, like the mother and baby homes, like the cattle vaccines, like the cervical smear, all committed by the Crown.
Like the blood product scandal back in the 80s and 90s when they gave hepatitis to a bunch of women because they had hemorrhage during pregnancy. And cynically, the American government has shipped large quantities of blood products to Ireland, which they knew to be contaminated. That's why they shipped them. They couldn't sell them in the States. So they sold them in Ireland. And the Irish government complicitly hid that fact for 20 years and allowed people to suffer and caused huge amount of suffering between families, because haemophilia was considered at the time to be a sexually transmitted disease. And it was a disease that drug addicts and sex workers got. And you can imagine the kind of callousness it would from a government that would allow such a thing. And here they've done it again, of course, the Moriarty Tribunal,
so many scandals. So what we're trying to do with this content is we're trying to draw a line in the sand and come at things from a Republican viewpoint. We're searching for Republicans in 2025. We're searching to see if Irish people still honour, remember, revere the republic that was declared and proclaimed in 1916 and established in 1919, 32 County Dáil.
I was talking to you, Dennis, that makes me lonely for Republicans. I didn't realise that I was lonely for a Republican company in the evening, at the weekend, off time. The benefit of talking to people who share my values. It's been extraordinary, our chats over the last number of weeks, privately, and I feel like the things that we've been talking about, we've been trying to get this on the road now for a month or two, start making podcasts, but between one thing and another, one disaster after another, I guess, the money isn't there to buy the equipment and all the stuff that we need. So we decided we're just going to go ahead and start talking about our ethos as Republicans, and to try and help other Republicans not feel so isolated, not just by geography, because we are quite spread out, but also about the amount of nonsense that's between us. I mean, the amount of crap, not just where you are and where I am, but in between us. It's very isolating, and you can feel like you're on your own. And I guess that's kind of how I have felt for some time, that I felt like I was the only Republican, or I knew I wasn't, of course, I knew I was just isolated. But that's the real benefit I've decided we need to share with our colleagues and our countrymen and our fellow nationals. And it's not for me and Dennis to be telling anybody what republicanism is. Republicanism is beautiful. It has sold itself very well over the last 1,000 years and has taken over the entire planet. That's any use anyway. And we're now in a situation where we've been running our country blindfolded with our fingers in our ears and no knowledge of republicanism, and still our republic manages to keep us safe somehow, just about. And that's how strong it actually is that even when your hands aren't on the wheel as a nation, and when we've handed and ceded control of our republic in ignorance and ineptitude, it still protects us.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of where we're coming at now. We're a content, in so much as that we are stating facts when we say that the Irish people are still being oppressed today by a Crown corporate government now at this stage. So it's corporations have taken the Irish Republic that was created in 1919 by our people, who gave themselves blood sacrifice for a thing they knew they'd never see themselves, the ultimate sacrifice. Christ consciousness, call it maybe. Some people are searching for that. So these boys and girls led by example, and they proclaimed their republic in 1916.
God bless them.
And some of them were, killed. Lots of them were killed for reading that proclamation. But the Irish people did stand up and proclaim their nation that day, and it became a thing. It was created lawfully on the 24th of January 1919. As we know now in hindsight, on the 24th of January 1919 is also the day that the War of Independence started. So you had the Solihull ambush in 1919, 24th of January, same day as the first Dáil was created. And since that day, the Dáil has not been allowed to blossom, and we're still living under Crown control. So we're trying to produce content where people who hopefully understand this, bar courts, they understand corporations, they understand the birth cert. We're not going to be putting out content really talking about, property taxes or the price of petrol, or isn't it terrible what they're doing with the prices of gas bottles and whatever else people want to talk about. Just more talk. We're trying to talk about systematic change and how the Irish people need to stand upon the proclamation of 1916 under God and reclaim and reaffirm. And what's the word we were talking about earlier on? Fidelity to the nation.
Fidelity to the nation. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's brotherly love. It's family love. Our nation is a family, and we've forgotten this. And it is what protects us, because the family is about the most protected thing in Ireland.
So we're trying to find people who have that fidelity to the nation, truly have it, outside of an agenda, outside of a political party.
They demonstrate it actively in their lives. Every day.
Yeah.
They care about the people they meet. And they're not just trying to hatchet their brain open to put information that would correct their wrongness. I like people's expression. I like all kinds of expressions. I support a lot of expression.
We're actually here ultimately to encourage you, the listener, to use your expression, your powers, and stand up against the evil cloud that has been over our land for 905 years now. They said 800 in the proclamation, and we've been educated through the English education system to believe that Ireland is an independent democratic state, which was proclaimed and ratified in the proclamation. But as we all know, we've got a 26 county South Ireland and a 6 county North of Ireland, which is 2 Crown dominions over the Irish Republic. And we're trying to find if people know this, people see this and choose to forget it for money and comforts. Or is it a thing that has been lost to the Irish people? It hasn't been lost to me. Shout out to Gabriel Martin, who passed away recently.
God bless you, Gabriel.
Yeah, he's done sterling work to try and...
God bless your lovely family.
Yeah, try to help the Irish people see what Irish people have done before them. Lawfully, we are free people. We are free under God, sovereign beings of the land and soil, and we don't stand for raping, oppressing our people. It sickens our stomach to watch it.
Don't have to stand for it. We were equipped by our ancestors that we didn't have to stand for it. They made us sovereign. They kicked the sovereign of England out, the King of England apparently. They kicked him out for some time, and we became the sovereign at the time. And the sovereign means that no one can do you harm without suffering the risk of being harmed themselves. They may suffer harm if they suffer you, if they cause you harm. And, this is what it means to be free, to be sovereign, that no third hand or big hand from the sky can just radically alter your life and cause immense damage or any damage without you being fully equipped to protect your family and yourself from that danger, regardless of what it is. If our ancestors won anything, that's what they won. That poor people could stand up for themselves against the big rich people or the government or whoever was trying to harm their lowly possessions or holding our family. And that's what we won. That's what republicanism guarantees. It guarantees this. And it's all over in many countries, all over many countries' documents. And we today now have a political system and a media system that never mentions republicanism or its values. And that's true wherever you look. I cannot find any political figures or any media types talking about the most robust system of government that has ever existed and that continues to exist and protect its countries, even though the people of the nations that those states were set up for have completely lost touch with what it means. We have to create a republic that would be familiar to my ancestors. And it turns out I can insist on that when dealing with my government and when dealing with the legal system, that the interpretations of the law and the Constitution are familiar would be familiar to my ancestors should he stand in the same courtroom. This is how it is run. It is not run another way. It is set up this way. And luckily, and we must take control of these powers that we have to enforce the accountability. We have no laws for accountability in Ireland because laws are not needed. The laws were already there. Do not steal, do not cheat, do not lie, do not deceive. These things were all written in stone by God, and that's our power. And the acts of law that these people use to oppress us are irrelevant in that jurisdiction.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we're going to be coming at with the content. We're not really going to be going into, there's a line in the sand in the terms of the things we're going to talk about. We don't need to be spoon feeding people any more stuff they should know by now.
And this is for those that already do know.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of people who already do know, but they're just isolated from each other, right?
Yeah. So we're looking to find those people, and this is the seed. So from this point on, we hope to see you down the road. But
we do want to interact, but under the terms of republicanism and its principles as laid out over thousands of years. It's not up for debate. That's settled here. So we're not looking at, I don't want to discuss things from the point of view of some ideology somewhere. I want to have discussions where the rules are republicanism, which include respect and fair right of response and all that stuff. And I don't want to talk about things that undermine republicanism or derail conversations where republicanism would provide a solution. But the conversations get derailed because people don't want the responsibility that comes with operating a republic.
Well, we've come to a moment in history now, if you look at it and take away all the jazz and all the bells and whistles, where in 2025, the Crown has knowingly poisoned many Irish people. Knowingly.
All around the world. The same corporations controlled by the Crown and the Vatican. The Vatican owns the patent on the corporations, and that's their corporations. And they're the ones causing the damage with this vaccine and other things. You know, environmental damage, psychological damage, all kinds of damage. You know, and why does the Pope think he write letters about telling corporations what to do? Well, is he hallucinating? He's not hallucinating. The Pope owns the corporations. He owns the patent of that system of incorporation. It's owned by the Vatican, has been for hundreds of years, and that is the system that we choose to do business with. We can say we are free people in our homes and on our land, but once we engage a corporate system in any form, we are engaging their system and subject to their jurisdiction. And that's how the system works. And if we're fighting for something or fighting against something, that is it. It's either freedom and independence from that system. That's the fight. That system that was set up in the 1600s by Pope Boniface and James Lackland. That is the system of slavery that our ancestors had to live under and be slaughtered under and be starved under. That's why they were treated like trash by the state, because of this slave system that's operated through the birth cert of the City of London and the Vatican. That's why those people were so viciously oppressed for so long. And we've just forgotten that that's what it was. And then when we set up our country, we went back out and started doing business with corporations. And now we have corporations looking after everything.
And now we're also at a point as well, as we just wanted to mention this in terms of the political domain. There's not one established, I'm not talking about the newer ones in the last year or so. I'm talking about all the political parties that you know. Not one of them has done any good for the people of this country. In decades they've fleeced and raped and pillaged the country, sold all our resources. And the line in the sand with us as well in our content so much is that you have to understand that the modern day Sinn Féin is a Crown MI5 Sinn Féin. So we're coming from that angle.
And they're communists.
Yeah. So we do encourage everybody to use their voice, and we don't want to be tearing strips off people who think they're doing good work, but please don't support the Crown or Oireachtas. Please stand against the Crown. recognise the crown, stand against the Vatican, recognise the Vatican, and let's reclaim our Irish Republic. That's the battle at hand. That's the seed. It's going to be a very, very, very tough battle. But there are people around the world trying to do their thing, and in America at the moment they're trying to set up their own national assembly, and you know, we can talk with these people and try and do something for the nationals ourselves. That needs to be done. So you have to understand the system, the fracture in the system, to understand their content. If you don't get that yet, our content probably will be hard for you to hear, and you might not like hearing it because.
But that doesn't mean you start talking. We have a right to operate in this space. I don't want to have a conversation with everybody. I want to have a conversation with Republicans that understand the slave system. And I don't want to talk to other people and watch them adjust themselves to the new reality. I haven't got time for all of the emotional outbursts they go through. I haven't got time for all the childish tactics they use to avoid the information through cognitive dissonance.
That's why we're doing this kind of audio format for now, you know, so it's not all about the video and looking good and wearing a suit and tie or having, you know, graphics on the screen. If you want to listen, you'll listen. I suppose there's a reason we're speaking. It's better out than in, as they say. And me and Darla have been talking for many years.
Many a year, by many a year, many a corner.
Been watching and didn't like what we seen 5 years ago, and we don't like what we see today, including from some of the new politician wannabes.
Well, I haven't liked what I've seen for 20 years.
I haven't. Yeah.
I left the country because I couldn't take what I was looking at. I couldn't look at my people getting eaten. You know, it was hard. It was easier to go into another country and watch those people getting eaten. You know, it really was like. It was easier kind of laughing at them.
So we have an email here anyway. I'll just shout this out while we're here because we'll probably finish up soon. We don't want to just, you know, there's no format as such, time limit or anything like that, but we'll just put this one out and see how she cooks. But if you want to contact us, you can get, we have an email here, Dunicha, Dubh Sláinte, it's my name, Osgailge, DONNACAODUBHSLAINE @gmail.com. If you want to reach out with an email, if you have any questions, any suggestions, anything interesting that you would think that would interest us and help us in our journey to it.
That bolsters the Republican position and the powers that it acknowledges from our nation. I'm not interested in discussions that won't use the tools and equipment our ancestors gave us to set up the Republic and maintain the Republic. We're trying everything else. We've tried every other thing. Telephones, computers, campaign. We tried loads of things, but not the Republican principles that our ancestors told us to use if our country becomes tyrannical. Yes. Why? Because they come with responsibility. And I faced that responsibility when I was a young man looking at Bobby Sands dying. And I've taken it very seriously every day since. Our Republic requires its nation, its people, to operate it. They have the same defined role as a Garda, as a judge, as a TD, as a senator, as any other civil servant. The Irish people have their defined roles in our Republic, and they're not taking responsibility for them. And that must change. And the way to do that is to we believe, is to bring the people who are already aware of this situation together and come up with a plan.
Bobby Sands, I watched a documentary about Bobby Sands a couple of weeks ago, and actually he died, obviously, starved to death. But he died for the Irish Republic. Yeah, simple as that.
Knowingly walked into a horrendous, painful death. Knowingly, to make the statement that would echo in the generations how important this is, how important these principles we just threw aside during the lockdown are. Does the lockdown not prove how important republicanism is?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the crown out of Ireland, that was his desire.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, yes, of course.
Honouring the Irish Republic and getting rid of the crown.
And let me say that to any of the northern listeners. I don't just want the king out of Ireland. I want the king out of England. I don't want monarchies telling anybody it wasn't a good period in history. They are not good people. They don't come from good stock. I don't believe this to be true. And I don't think any nation benefits from having a monarchy. I don't. and I'm going to hold that position. No, I want to deal with the northern lads. I want to deal with. Well, we have to get this shit together, or we're both fucked. But I'm not going up there pretending I support the king or I'm happy about the king being in Ireland. I'm not doing that. I'm not. That'd be a lie.
Yeah,
You know.
course,
So I'm not doing that, and I just don't think they have good cause really to want to live under this king or any king. Might be wrong, like I'm open to them convincing me otherwise, but like what we've seen recently coming out of that family is not good. And we know about the history of that family and how European royalty worked. Wow, dude, that's what our ancestors fought against. All like England is the seat of republicanism. Our constitutions come from the Magna Carta. The ideas were first brought together in England, and it's just amazing to me that that's still run by a monarchy. It's such a contradiction, you know.
Yeah. Another thing that we will would like you to come up to speed on as well is that we would like you to understand that we've got a massive paedophilic problem on the island, and lots of children are suffering, and this needs to be addressed. So
that's a big problem. It always has been in Ireland.
Massive, but it needs to be addressed. So we would like you to come on board if you feel the same way. If you'd like to honour the Irish Republic, deal with paedophilia, step away from the Crown, step away from the Vatican, and take your freedom under God back, proclaim it and take it back, and that's the battle.
Please associate with people who understand these things, and don't worry about the rest of them. It's not, what can you do? We don't need everybody. We need the people who understand what we're talking about to face it and come together and be strong together
and honour our ancestors.
Our amazing ancestors come up with this amazing system that has all these fail-safes built into it, and we won't fucking use them. Sorry, I cursed. I apologise.
Have to start all over again.
Cut.
Yeah, so you have the email. I'll put it on this video as well. I think we're done for now. We'll be back.
Darren's getting rowdy. It's time.
Yeah, no, just breaking the ice. We've been talking about it for a while, so we just kind of wanted to put out a little audio for people to listen to. You know,
we've got to get the ball rolling then, because
so yeah, we're seeking Republicans.
We want to come and visit you, and we want to talk about the Republican things that you do.
We want to be inspired, inspire us, give us hope, give us joy, and we know these are difficult times for people out there. There's been lots of suffering over the past. Only at a funeral again this morning, funeral last week. They're tough times for people. Yeah, you can see it yourself. So
we've got to face these difficult things and stop waffling about nonsense. Nonsense we're talking about all the time.
We need to accept, we need to grieve, and we need to build, we need to move, and we need to move forward quickly. And if we're not progressing, well then, what's the point? So yeah, send this audio to anybody you want who may be interested in listening. Again, I gave you the email. Contact us there if you want to. That's it, folks. Be good. Talk to you soon. Dara's gonna.
Long live Sinead.
Long live the Irish Republic.
Long live the Republic, boy.